Welcome to NAFDAC and Your Health. This is where you get seasoned updates about NAFDAC's relentless work in ensuring that the health of Nigerians is protected. My name is Tosin Omolaja. Water is one fundamental element that our bodies require to survive from day to day, and to this end, it is important that potable water is safe for consumption. Today, we examine NAFDAC's efforts in making sure that this is a standard in Nigeria. More than ever before, the novel coronavirus known as COVID-19 has put the need for proper hygiene in the forefront of human daily living, and the water we drink plays a significant role in all this. Because of the challenge of access to potable water across the country, many people resort to purification methods that have been proven to be injurious to health. The agency had been engaged in enlightening and sensitizing the public on the dangers of these practices. At a press conference, the Director General of NAFDAC enlightened the public on dangers of using some known purification methods that have been proven to be injurious to health.
There are other ways to purify water. We can boil it, we can filter it, and then for people that don't have the means of purifying, you can even sieve it. Yes. With there are some cloths, special cloths that you use or filter that it can be sieved. Even after boiling, you let it settle down, and the ones that are that is not the top part of it, you sieve it. It takes a while to keep one's body healthy, but it's a time that is worth it. In fact, some people are using aspirin to purify water. When aspirin is in water, it's hydrolyzed to salicylic acid. So the water that you are drinking has salicylic acid, and salicylic acid can cause erosion of the intestine and cause ulcer. But if this is one-time practice, it's not okay, but it may be not too bad. But it's going to, if it is something that you are doing every day, it's endangering the health of the user.
Before the advent of packaged water, we had, there were rampant cases of cholera, in so many communities. So the advent of the packaged water, at least introduced some level of safe water for people to even drink, rather than going to drink directly from the streams or from ponds and all that. And that is why NAFDAC is trying to ensure that at least let us maintain the quality of this water, while that is, the only source of at least relatively safe drinking water that, many people can have access to. For instance, in Lagos, we have more than 2,000 water factories, and all over the country we have more than 16,000 water producers. In as much as they are even most of them are micro and small, medium enterprises, organizations, we still make sure that they go through all the necessary processes that they have to.
NAFDAC regularly monitors to ensure that water made available in the markets for Nigerians are fit for consumption. It consequently mops up products that fall short of these health and safety standards, and even shuts down facilities that produce them.
We're placing this facility on hold because we got a complaint about the quality of the water that is being produced from this facility. Now, we also have carried out a routine prior to the complaint of what is this facility is all about, and we discovered that there were a lot of non-conformances to good manufacturing practice. So based on the routine we carried and the complaints that we got, the action we're carrying out right now is to actually place this facility on hold where we conduct our investigation, and the result of the investigation will determine the next line of action.
A situation where they cannot account for the bottles, they cannot account for whatever they use in bottling, then it becomes a problem. We are calling upon them for them to monitor the activities of their employees, because if they are caught, they will be held responsible. They will be vicariously responsible for it. And we're also using this medium to advise for them to have their own post-marketing surveillance units and monitor the activities of their distributors so that they will be able to conform to good distribution practice, and also they will be able to take care of the containers which they use for the water. That is what we are calling them to do.
The fight to ensure that unsafe packaged water of any sort is eradicated from our society requires the keen interest of everyone in the community.
There is need for people in the neighborhood to be involved in what we do. These counterfeiters, people involved in these dangerous and nefarious activities, they are not spirits, they are human beings. You should be able to report them because your own life is involved.
Producers of packaged water are required to register with NAFDAC in order to ensure that the water they produce meets safety standards.
The public should know that when we talk about registration, there is a process whereby the agency certify that what you are producing and the environment where you are producing it and some other requirements are met so that the product which you produce will meet up with regulated standard. And this product, when it's applied or used by Nigeria, by the citizen, it will not harm them.
As a regulatory measure, NAFDAC engages its laboratories conducting appropriate analysis on water samples in order to ascertain that they are safe for consumption.
When we analyze these products, we tend to look at the potability of the water, if it is fit for human consumption. For example, we look at the pH level, we look at the conductivity, we look at the presence of the alkalinity and the acidity level in the water. We now also subject the water to microbial analysis to see if there's presence of coliform or what we call and the other pathogenic organisms. We'll subject it to see if they have yeast or mold growing in them, or even spirogyra. We also analyze for metals. Metals, in this case, are what we call the elements in chemistry: cadmium, lead, copper, zinc, and others. And each of these elements has its maximum limit. So any of these elements that exceeds the maximum limit, we consider them not fit for consumption.
Siting of the packaged water manufacturing facility is an important factor NAFDAC considers during registration of water products with the agency.
If you are using a borehole or a well, we look at the environment, the area where you are digging the borehole. Then we also request for the geological survey of the area because we'd like to see the nature of the area where you are seeking your borehole. We have experts who would look at the survey and see whether you are at the right depth. So depending on the area you are locating your facility, we would determine whether it is suitable or not.
When you sink your borehole in an area where there's fecal contamination or near to the burial ground, near to the dumping site, there are likelihood of having contaminants present in your water. Where you do not have the ideal system for production and packaging of water, the likelihood of having contaminants are there. Even if you have a system and you don't have a check, a hazard analysis and critical control system where you disinfect your working tools, the tank and the pipes are not flushed properly, these organisms are likely to be there.
When we go for assessments, we do a total assessment from source to production. We check your staff, your personnel, we check your equipment, we check your filters, we check your UV, we check your water treatment processes, we check your tanks, we check your taps, We check the joints to make sure there are no leaks, because even after treatment, any leak is a source of contamination. So we recommend that every water treatment facility should have a UV sterilizer. Ultraviolet, what UV means is ultraviolet light sterilizer. Ultraviolet light destroys microorganisms. We recommend this just before the filling or packaging, final packaging of water. No matter the nature of treatment you have put in place, we still insist that please make sure the water passes through UV before it is filled.
NAFDAC ensures that packaging materials used for water products are appropriate and are properly managed to maintain the quality of the water stored in them.
Look at the method of consumption of pure water, for instance. It is direct to mouth. Do you understand? The sachet, people put it to mouth. So if the sachet is contaminated or is dirty, what is the essence of trying to treat the water? Because already the packaging is dirty. So if you use a packaging material that is contaminated, for instance, you have taken the water through treatment and then you are packaging it in something that is already contaminated. So all the efforts, have been wasted. So that is why one of the requirements we look at when we go to water inspections is that we want to see evidence that the person producing your packaging material is aware that you are going to use it to package food, to package water, which is for drinking. Because if a printer or somebody manufacturing packaging material for water has a lot of rats in his facility, has a lot of cockroaches in his facility, and then you produce packaging material that is going to be used to package water. If you have rat urine that's the source of Lassa fever on the packaging material, and it is taken to the factory, there is no additional, there is no additional cleaning that could be done that will effectively, remove that kind of contamination. So we make sure that processes are in place to ensure that even your packaging material suppliers are pre-qualified before you can take, these packaging materials from them. We could even go out to those producers of the packaging materials to say, we came to check. We understand you produce a packaging material for factory A. Can we look at your facility? We want to see that you are maintaining the kind of hygiene that is expected in a facility that is producing packaging material for food.
We'll take a short break now. Don't go away. Welcome back. You're watching NAFDAC and Your Health. Product labeling is a mandatory measure for manufacturers of water products in Nigeria, and NAFDAC ensures that this requirement is met without compromise.
There is no water that is approved by NAFDAC without it having a name, the address of the manufacturer or the producer, batch number, production date, and expiry date or best before date. All water, whether it is in sachet, bottle, jars, or any form of packaging, anyone that does not have that is in violation of prepackaged foods labeling regulations, which makes it mandatory for everyone to include this information. Additionally, if your water is carbonated or flavored, or you've added anything to it as approved by NAFDAC, then you must also disclose, this on your labels. So everything must be disclosed, and that is the requirement for prepackaged food labeling regulations. And the regulation is a law; it's a subsidiary law. So if you are not doing that, you're actually committing an offense, and you are liable to, to be penalized by the agency. We could either charge you to court, or apply other forms of sanctions. We must have closed down more than 20 facilities that are producing sachet water and do not have production dates, best before dates, and batch number.
NAFDAC, as a regulatory agency, prioritizes labeling of products so as to ensure that proper records are kept in order to enhance execution of specific regulatory and enforcement measures.
Why we insist on batch number, production date, and all this coding is because in the event there is a problem, it will be easy for us to say, please, if you have product A with batch number this produced on so date, please return it to the supplier or to NAFDAC or separate it, do not consume it. That is what we call a recall. And also when there are issues, maybe you need to go and investigate a product in a factory or in a production facility, you can easily isolate, the problem and say, okay, it was batch A or batch B or batch C that had a problem, and you isolate it and you deal with it and it is corrected. So it is very important that we have this information. And then for the best before date, of course, you want to know water cannot stay in the packaging forever. There is a limit, of time for which it can be retained in that packaging. So that is why we specify that, okay, for a particular type of packaging, this is the shelf life that it should be, and it is like that for all products. For instance, if you see a product in glass, the shelf life will be different from the same product in PET, and it may be different from the shelf life of the same product in sachet. So these are the information, but you can only know that if you have the coding on it, on the product.
The means by which water products are transported and distributed greatly affect quality. NAFDAC ensures to educate manufacturers about the need to be conscious of this, thereby encouraging them to take necessary precautions.
One of the things we also do is to educate the producers that please do not distribute your products in a way that the packaging material will be contaminated. Don't put them in the open vehicle, although we see quite a number of them on the roads, sometimes, and this is not approved by NAFDAC. And then you see people sometimes sitting or lying on top of water. It's really not nice, because the person, that is lying on top of the water, your skin, it may be dirty. The person may have some skin, diseases, and all that. So you cannot, and even some people, you even see some of them stepping on the water. They think, oh, it's in the packet, so you can even walk on it. That is really not encouraged, and NAFDAC frowns at this, and we want to, because we cannot be everywhere. So we want to encourage members of the public to please report when they see any such things. That you saw a vehicle with registration number carrying sachet water or bottled water and not being properly conveyed.
Bad storage practices, such as exposing water meant for consumption to sunlight, may result in contamination and endanger the health of the consumers. NAFDAC discourages this practice.
The sun has a negative effect on the products, okay? Especially products in PET bottles and even in sachet. Because when the packaging material, that's why we worry about keeping these things in the sun, because you can have certain components of the packaging material released into the water under heat, under high temperature. Do you understand? And when you keep something in the sun is directly hitting it, and the temperature continues to rise. So we want to discourage, and we seriously discourage storage of products in the sun.
Licenses issued by NAFDAC to water manufacturers are generated to suit their respective areas of manufacture, so as to ensure that production is done within their various capacities as approved by the agency. It's time for the news on NAFDAC Updates.
Pax Herbal Coxine capsule is not approved for the treatment of COVID-19. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, has clarified claims making rounds on social media that NAFDAC has approved Pax Herbal products for treating symptoms associated with coronavirus as absolutely false. The DG made clear that the said product, Coxine capsule 290 mg, was listed as safe for use and not approved for the treatment of COVID-19. Pax Herbal applied for listing of Pax Herbal Coxine capsule 290 mg, which was listed as safe for use by NAFDAC. The applicant claimed that it is an immune booster and an anti-infective. No clinical study has been done yet on any of the products to prove the claim of efficacy. However, as part of the labeling of the product and in line with global practice, A disclaimer is on the product label which clearly states that the claims have not been evaluated by NAFDAC. According to the DG, 21 other products are also being processed for the same listing status, which only speaks to the safety for use and not to its efficacy as a cure for disease or ailment. Therefore, the statement circulating in the social media that NAFDAC has approved Pax herbal products specifically for treating symptoms associated with coronavirus is wrong and inaccurate. Until a clinical study is done in a scientific manner, no herbal medicine manufacturer can claim effectiveness to treat COVID-19 associated symptoms. The Director General of NAFDAC has uploaded the new online documentation and operations of the agency, confirming that the electronic platform and processes have enabled business firms and importers of regulated products clear their consignments directly from the ports. Professor Adeyeye has tasked entities involved with research and development in the country to synergize with international scientific bodies to attain international standards with scientific evidence in order to place Nigeria on a global platform. Still on coronavirus, she advised pharmacies, patent stores, and shop owners against sale of expired and unregistered products to safeguard the health of the public. In the same vein, NAFDAC in Delta State visited 35 pharmacies and patent medicine outlets and mopped up unregistered hand sanitizers sold to consumers. In neighboring Rivers State, the Director General, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, also lauded Port Harcourt International Breweries for the modern health center it contributed to the Oginigba community of the state as part of the company's CSR activity. Don't forget, COVID-19 is real. Take responsibility for your health and that of others. Wear a face mask when you are in public. Practice proper hand hygiene. Wash your hands as often as possible or use only NAFDAC-approved alcohol-based hand sanitizer if you don't have access to clean running water. Stay away from crowded places as much as possible. Avoid touching your hands and mouth. And if you feel any unusual symptoms that may suggest COVID-19, self-isolate immediately and please call your state emergency numbers for COVID-19 for further instructions. NAFDAC. Customer-focused, agency-minded. That's it on NAFDAC Update. You've been updated.
This is how far we can go today. Join us again next week for another insightful edition. In the meantime, if you have questions, comments, or inquiries, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach NAFDAC via toll-free numbers. For inquiries, call 0700-162-3322. For complaints, please call 0800-162-3322 or email nafdac@nafdac.gov.ng. Always remember that safeguarding the health of the nation is our collective responsibility. So if you have information about fake and unwholesome food and drugs or activities that create them, kindly let us know. Till next week, stay safe.